Hello? Okay. Give me a second, because that might be too loud. One moment, please. One moment, please. That sounds pretty good. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're back at it again with another commander deck, with another EDH deck. Something that I've had brewing for a few years now. As you can tell, in case you don't know any of my background history, Ikoria, I believe, was like the set that got me into Magic. I let me think, because the Eldrazi's are what I started with, but Ikoria is kind of like the first set that I actually paid attention to once Ikoria was released and they showed off like Godzilla. So I'm really excited to show this off and let you guys look at what I have cooking over here. I also have my Architect over on the side, as per usual from last time. Not only to let you know what the mana, like the curve is, but also because there's some Japanese cards in here that I, for the life of me, do not know the English translations or any of what the text is. So first, we'll talk about some of the accessories, just because we can. Make sure I got this over here. All right. And then once we talk about the accessories, just because it's a little different this time, because with this one we have like a different deck box. We have dice, and then we have card sleeves. The card sleeves haven't changed since last time, but did I have this deck box last year? I don't remember. Either way, it's a game deck. What are they? Side loaders? Sidekicks? I think these are called. Don't know. Let me see if the name is at the bottom. Nope. No major branding. I mean, other than the logo of the company. But yeah, this is a game deck box. Reason why I like it is because it's relatively small compared to like the towers they used to sell. Also, it has like a nice display case, so you can put your thick sleeves right there. Also, as you saw earlier, it has a little hidden compartment right here. It's a false wall. Dun, dun, dun. You can see there. And then here are the dice. I think these are Kraken dice. There you go. I think these were unpainted. I bought these unpainted, and all I had to do is just add some ink. There you go. Love Kraken. Kraken is how much info? I mean, I don't know how much info I'm gonna give, but yeah, I also have like all the paper counters. But I really like Kraken. Kraken is my preferred dice company. If I had one, it would be a Kraken. What else? Yeah, these are all just a bunch of old like name counters, because this commander really likes having keywords, and I need to keep track of keywords. So the easiest way is with those. However, I do want to buy dice, like hard keyword dice that, you know, all you have to do is change the dice and you can change the keyword. That's the plan for the future. I just haven't done it yet. And then also, as you know, the sleeves, they're just they're dragon shields, and then they have innards. They have side loaders, side innards. Oh, actually, I guess they are the black-sided ones. I know they released what is it called? Is it called double-sided sleeves for Dragon Shield? Dragon Shield sells like a usually when they sell sleeves, they'll sell them with like a solid color. However, this was the set where they started doing one color on one side and then doing black on the inside. So that's what makes those sleeves special in particular. But either way, that's some of the accessories, just to kind of help you out in case you have the deck or you want to find some accessories. Let me make sure I have all the info I need right here. So anyways, here he is. Here's a boy. Bile Quartz Space Godzilla. This is definitely what sold me. I know a lot of people complain about Beyond Universe stuff, and I do have my complaints with the idea of Beyond Universe taking up so much space of the Magic universe. However, you can't deny when your favorite IP gets translated to your favorite card game, it's a hard pill to like avoid. Like it's like keeping candy away from a child. Like I was weak, and it's fine. You know, people have their things. People have the things they like, And for me, Godzilla is one of those things, as you saw with the last video, Space Godzilla, or Warhammer. Warhammer is another thing I like a lot. I don't know a lot about Warhammer, but I did like the pre-cons that they release with the Warhammer stuff. And then on top of that, like Secret Layers. I like Secret Layers. I don't like where they are now. That's a whole different conversation. Either way, we're gonna be talking about Brokkos. This is a skin. So I wish they would go back to doing this, where they just did skins over existing commanders or existing legendary creatures. And I'm wondering if I should take this off to reduce the glare. No, there's still glare, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I will read the card, and we'll talk about it and why I decided to go with this. Can I also like trying to see if I can like, that definitely does not make things easier for me. Just trying to see if there's a way to like get rid of the glare. Either way, so this is Brokkos Apex of Forever, which is reskinned as Space Godzilla. The 5 mana creature, mutates for 5. So it has trample, and it has, you may cast Brokkos Apex of Forever from your graveyard using its mutate ability. So if it's in the 99, it makes more sense. But as a commander, I mean, you can let it hit the grave and then just mutate it. But majority of the time, I don't do that. I don't let my commander hit the grave. Usually if it dies, I'll just let it get the commander attacks, just because like you don't want to run the risk of your graveyard being exiled or somebody messing with your grave, because that happens a lot. So he's a lot safer in the command zone. Also, like, the deck's not really built around like a reanimator theme. It's built around a more Voltron-esque kind of game plan. And that'll become a little more apparent, because I want to talk about like the reasoning behind this deck. Why does it exist? What's the strategy behind it? So in Ikoria, as we know, there was a lot of special showcase. There's actually like literally my favorite showcase that they've ever done for a EDH was in Ikoria, and I wanted to make a deck around that. So I also wanted to make a deck for just like the Godzilla stuff. So it's not just Space Godzilla, but as many of the Godzilla cards I could fit in here, as well as like some of the showcase of the set. So like I'll show you what some of the showcase look like in a minute. But that's the theme of the deck, is basically pick a commander, preferably a Godzilla one, and fit as many Godzilla themed cards and Ikoria showcase cards as I could in the deck, and then go on from there. And then of course like mutate cards as well, because this is a mutate deck, which is why it's a like Voltron-esque commander. And I don't know how I feel about this deck. Let's talk about some of the stats. So as you can tell, you can already see it's a soul tie, and it's a bracket 4, very firmly in bracket 4. I don't think even I can't like convince anyone otherwise, just because of some of the cards you're gonna see. It's very solidly in bracket 4, and the curve is at the mana curve, or average mana value, is 2.3. So it's a fairly decent curve. We're mostly peaking out at 2, and then slowly tapering to 3. So with that in mind, let's see. Anything else I can tell you about this? I can kind of give you like some ideas of the deck. Well, some of my grievances. The reason why there's so many game changers and it's a bracket 4 is because for the life of me, I shuffle this up and I play with it, and at least 80% of the time, 80% of the games I play with this deck, I brick up bad, really bad. And it's upsetting, because it seems like it's the only deck that I have that just seems to, you know, no matter how much I shuffle, no matter how much I pump into this deck monetarily and, you know, power wise, it never performs. I have some theories. I think a lot of it has to do with the land base. Even though I've invested like a large amount of money into the land base, I think probably more than I should have. But either way, it's a bracket 4. However, it plays like a slug. Granted, just because it plays like a slug doesn't mean you should leave it alone. If you leave me in my cave long enough, I will walk out with a fucking with a Iron Man-esque Mark 1. So you gotta always be careful with it. If it does get targeted, it definitely does deserve it, which is why in the deck there is a lot of things to protect it, things to get rid of other opposing threats. Let's see, how deep do I go? Yeah. So speaking of protection, we're gonna talk about the protection suite. I think we have like what, 5 cards? I can check actually. Yeah, we got 5. We have 5 in our protection suite. So obviously some of the first ones we're starting with is just good old-fashioned Swiftfoot boots. This is purely just a staple. It's been in here for so long. It's it could probably get replaced now, but I still like it a lot. It's a relatively low cost while giving it protection and giving whatever I need haste, which is really nice for one magic. For 1 mana, I can attach this to whatever I need to attach this to, and then just basically be off to the races. So it can keep the deck aggressive. However, I also think some of the creatures in here are not like the strongest, though I'm pretty sure you will, disagree with me pretty soon. So Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana spell, artifact, equipped creature has hexproof and haste, and then you equip it for 1. So good old standard stuff. It could get replaced in the future, however, it hasn't served me wrong. So I haven't been done dirty by that card yet. So it'll stay in until I decide like we're done. And then of course our next one is Swan Song. That's always a hard one for me to say. As you can tell, it's also the Miku one. This is probably the only one of the more recent secret layers that I bought was the Miku secret layer. What's going on with me? And the only reason why I got it is because it was done by Kellogg's, the artist, which is I can touch the screen. There you go. Kellogg Loops, legendary artist now. Honestly, if you haven't, I don't know I think it's a guy, but if you haven't seen their work, they've done amazing stuff. They've had several secret layers. They've done part of a secret layer starter deck, and then of course they did one of the cards for the Miku set. And honestly, probably the best card in that set, unfortunately. Because this is the only card I needed from that set. I feel bad. Probably could have just bought this as a single, but I haven't looked at the price. So actually, let me. Okay, just making sure my tracking is on point. I'm so tired of messing with this thing. Okay, but either way, Swan Song is a instance. 1 mana instance. It's a blue. Counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird with flying. So this is great as a response to like a counter spell or like something you don't want to see on the other side. You just give them a 2/2 flying bird. Usually it doesn't bite you in the butt, but it happens occasionally. Sometimes your opponent will just put all the equipment, all the buffs on that bird and just hit you for like 60, and you just gotta live with your consequences, live with your actions. Our next one is Strix. What is this? Strix Serenade? I haven't looked at this card in a while since I got it. Because again, I almost never draw it because this deck needed a lot of money put into the draw engines. Yeah, this is I want to say Baleful Strix. It's not Baleful Strix. It's Strix Serenade. It's a 1 mana instance. Counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 bird creature with flying. Basically just a second copy of Swan Song. Good card. I like the art. Looks good. And yeah, just more protection. Of course, as you saw, we have the Fierce Guard chip. We have the showcase version. And it is. We just talked about this literally in the last video. This is just a free commander spell. Game changer. Rightfully so, I think. Your opponent will never see it coming, unfortunately. And chances are your opponent is going after your commander, especially with a commander that plays like a Voltron commander. That's their #1 target right there. So making sure that you protect it at all costs. Literally no reason not to have it in the deck, of course. And then we have an offer you can't refuse. Another 1 mana instance. Cannot target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. I was really low on this card back when it came out in New Capenna. I'm a lot higher on this card. It's giving your opponent 2 free mana is a hard pill to swallow, but when it turns into like, oh, you got rid of their game-winning card and you gave them 2 mana in return, it's like, it's better than nothing. So I'm completely fine with that. I think it definitely has earned its place in the deck. Our next ones that we're looking at is going to be our board wipes. We have four board wipes, and first one is Toxic Deluge. See right there, Toxic Deluge. Super cool art. Is this the Warhammer one? I can't tell. I think that's the Warhammer symbol. Like 50-50 on that. We'll see in a minute. I can probably check what the other card in this deck, but then that would probably take up too much time, and I did not immediately see it. So Toxic Deluge, of course, is a 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black sorcery. As an additional cost of the spell, you may pay X life. All creatures get -X until the end of turn. It's just a emergency button. If one of the opponents is just getting out of hand with creatures on the board, you just give them all -X, minus like 6. That takes care of like 80% of the board most times. Pretty low investment considering we start at 40 life. If you need to go above 10, you can, but it's kind of a big commitment going above 10. But yeah, I do love this. It's a great card. It's relatively cheap right now, so if you don't have them, you gotta pick them up. And of course, let me actually flip this one. It's a flip card, and it's actually a battle. What is this? Siege? Yeah, this is a siege. So they're battle bonds, or what are they called? I know they're just called battles. Probably the only card that will ever fill up the screen. There you go. Invasion of Fiora. 4, 5, 6, 6 mana, 2 black. Battle, siege. Let's see. Okay, so it's hard to remember how these work. You basically give one to you when you play it, you give it to an opponent, and then you get the effects, and then you have to hit it. So it's kind of like a planeswalker, but it's like a pseudo planeswalker that you give to your opponent that you swing into to get the effect. And it has 4 siege points. I don't know what the counters are called. It has 4 counters that you have to hit into it. And it has when Invasion of Fiora enters the battlefield, choose one or both. Destroy all legendary creatures, destroy all non-legendary creatures. So for 6 mana, it's a board wipe. I think the rate is okay because it's a destruction spell. It's fine. But the main reason why I have this in here is because when you actually flip it after the board wipe, you actually get a pretty cool creature. There we go. You can actually see her. It is Marchesa, Result Monarch. There we go. Legendary creature, human noble. I believe, yeah, it's a noble. Menace, Death Touch. 2 keywords we want on our commander. Whenever Marchesa attacks, remove all counters from up to 1 target permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So kind of like a Monarch. It's like a bad version of Monarch because at the end of your turn you take 1 and then you draw a card. Thankfully though, you never lose it. Like as long as Marchesa's out, you don't lose that effect. So no one can take that monarchy from you. But the main reason why we have it is because it can remove counters, which is what we're aiming for. Because as you can probably tell, there's like if this doesn't give it away, we do have a specific land that comes in with 20 counters on it that we want to remove. So this is one of the ways we remove it. But while we're doing that, it doesn't hurt to have a board wipe attached to it just in case. And then when we're ready, we can swing into it, flip it, and then get rid of counters. So that's why that's there. And of course, whenever you have a mutate deck, chances are if it's in blue, you're going to see this card and you're going to hate it. So just be prepared. If you see this, immediately destroy this. And you can tell why I have so many good counter spells, because of things like this that immediately get destroyed. So what is your name? Cephaloid Constable? Cephaloid Constable, I believe the word. It's a 3 mana creature, 2 blue. It is whenever this deals combat damage to a player, return up to that many target permanents that player controls to their owner's hands. So the idea is, the reason why it's in the board wipe is because obviously if you mutate onto this, you all of a sudden have a commander that can remove 6 creatures or remove 6 of anything on the board whenever it hits. So by itself, it's not much of a threat. It's just like target removal. However, with your commander, you can immediately just get rid of like 6 things. No questions asked. It's really nasty. It's a very nasty thing. And I like it. I think it works in the deck. It has a very limited use, so I think it's only ever going to exist in a mutate deck. So, you know, at least be prepared for that. If you ever run into a mutate deck, just immediately target that thing, get rid of that thing. It's nasty. It's like a really bad annihilator. And then this is Black Sun Zenith. It's a X, black, sorcery. Put X 1/1 counters, or -1/-1 counter to each creature. Shuffle Black Sun Zenith into its owner's library. So it's a continuous board wipe because it shuffles itself back into your library. Theoretically, you could draw it again at some point during the game. However, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Mostly, it's a backup copy of Toxic Deluge. So, plus, it's also sick art. So, I'm happy we got this one. In the past, this was a Mihut Massacre, but this makes a little more sense. Mihut Massacre, I traded with my brother and got this instead. So, great card. Next one, it's going to be our removal package. So this is just target removal, things that, you know, if there's something on the opposite field that I'm afraid of, I can just remove it with one of these spells instead of just countering it. Sawtusk Demolisher is a 4/5/6 6-man creature. You never pay 6. You usually pay the mutate cost, which is 4. There you go, mutate on 4. So instead of paying its 6 costs, you pay its 4 costs, and then you put it either above. So you can either put it above or below target creature on your field. And then it gets the following keywords. So then the keywords, or the effect that the creature has, is trample. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. And then it's also 6/6. So 4 mana 6/6. See if we can get this thing to focus again. There we go. So a 4 mana 6/6, really good rate, really good efficient mana cost. On top of that, it also just acts as a beast within. It is, let's see, non-creature permanent. So mostly like a beast within, but it's a consistent, because as long as you keep mutating onto this, then you'll keep removing things and eventually you'll get your opponent. Next one is Pouncing Shark. So this is our first instance of the showcase for Ikoria, and as you can already immediately tell, this looks insanely different from a normal Magic card, but in a good way. It still has the DNA of a Magic card on it. Like, you can see the layout, UI, everything looks cohesive. It looks not that much different from a normal Magic card, as we'll put side to side here. Everything looks and feels the same. However, with the transparency, the vibrancy of the colors that's used, it just feels like a whole different thing. It looks so good too. It has like a very comic book-esque style. It has like some harsh shading, some cell shading, very vibrant colors, obviously a very thick outline for most things. I love the art. The art's great, like 10 out of 10. This is my favorite showcase that we've seen. Even to this date, I don't think there is much that trumps it other than like some secret layers. Like, secret layers usually will trump any set, any showcase, for the most part. Not everything, not every secret layer is going to trump a showcase, but in this case, there are very few secret layers that would trump this. But anyway, Pouncing Shore Shark is a 5 mana creature. However, we're paying the mutate for 4. It has flash. Whenever this creature mutates, you may return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So again, this is a part of like removal in the deck. It's keeping within theme, because not only is it a mutate card that is pretty decent in the deck, it also has a showcase that I like. So it kind of just automatically gets put in. It's not great removal. It usually doesn't get played unless I'm desperate. So the nice thing though is that it has flash. So if you need to flash mutate something, let's say for whatever reason you have Space Godzilla and you've already attacked, and you know it's your opponent's turn, and they do something crazy that you don't like, you just flash this in, mutate, and then this mutate triggers, which means you can remove a non-creature permanent. Then this mutate triggers, then you bounce something to your opponent's hand, and then that's all free stuff on your opponent's field. So definitely you can see some of the usefulness of mutate, like where some of the power lies. Sorry, I think today I just have a fat tongue, so my words are just getting slurred more than usual. Anyways, my next card is Nature's Claim. If we ever get to see it. There you go. Nature Claim. Good old staple, just classic. Always just good removal, good efficient removal. It's a 1 green instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life. So, I think it's fine. I'm always looking for something to replace it with. However, it's difficult to find something as efficient as Nature's Claim, because not only is it an instant, it's only 1 mana, but it also gets rid of pretty relevant types. Like it gets rid of an enchantment, which is pretty relevant because enchantments are kind of tough to target and get rid of. So I do like it, but I'm always keeping my eyes peeled. Just like Swiftfoot Boots, where I always have my eyes peeled for a replacement, but I always have a hard time finding a replacement. I haven't found a replacement yet for them. Our next one is Deadly Rollick. Another free commander card. However, far less oppressive than the other two, or the other one I have in this deck. So Deadly Rollick is a 4 mana spell. However, it doesn't matter because it's a commander spell, so it's a free commander spell. And then it is, if you control your commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Exile target creature. It's an instant. It exiles, which is pretty important for free. And the art's actually pretty cool. I think this is a Rakdos character. She looks familiar. I've seen her before. For the life of me, you can't remember her name, but the art looks good. And always happy to get a reprint whenever available. Next one. Lyconic Rift. We just saw this one. However, we have not seen the showcase. And my favorite part about this is the cow. Right there. Or I guess, is it a cow or pig? I think maybe it's a pig. I always thought it was a cow. Maybe it's a pig. But yeah, love the art. Super stylized mana tornado. Really cool. Has like a very Ikoria feel to it, a little bit. You can see some of the design language that has made it from the Ikoria showcase to this one. And it is probably one of the strongest board wipes target removal in the game. So Cyclonic Rift is a 2 mana spell. However, 90% of the time you're not casting it for 2, you're casting it for the 7, the Overlord or Overload. When you pay for the Overload, you replace the word target with all, I believe. So return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. And then if you pay the Overload cost, I believe it goes to return each non-land permanent you don't control, is how Overload works. So for 7 mana, you have a very, very powerful board wipe. And then for 2 mana, you have a decent target removal spell, Beast Within. Oh, this is a sick one. And I can't for the life of me remember if this is a secret layer. I believe it is, because I believe this came with the Blasphemous Act. So either they came from a showcase or they were both secret layers, which I'm willing to bet that these are secret layers. They just don't have any of the markings of a secret layer. So 3 mana instance, Beast Within. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Destroy target permanent. Ooh, spooky. There you go. There it is. All the text is, I will say, at least with this one, the text is legible, even if it's like a bit jumbled up. Because usually the most important part is this part down here, and then this, not so important. But regardless, I think it looks cool. I enjoy the look of Ikoria being used in a movie poster style thing. And here's the first card where we're definitely going to need to look at the Architect to read it. So if you give me a moment, I will pull this card up and then we can read it together. There it is. Then make sure I get the camera so I can actually see. There it is. Come on. There it is. 4 mana creature, black creature. And this is Batra, Dark Destroyer. And then its actual name is Dirge Bat. So it's a creature bat, has a mutate of 4, 5, 6. Mutate of 6, that's a lot for a mutate creature. So you're very likely just going to cast this as a creature. It has flash flying. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So again, this was a addition because it's a Godzilla card. It fits the criteria that we're looking for. And it just so happens to be removal. So that's why we're running this card. And I think it looks cool. Batra looks, I mean, well, this was Batra, right? I believe, what is this? Is this like Mothra's evil cousin? Evil doppelganger? Really like it. The art looks sick in this. So this is definitely one of those mutate creatures where you cast it for its normal cost and then you mutate on top of or below it, depending on what you need. So yeah, and then whenever you do, you get to destroy a creature. Or is it destroy or exile? It is destroy target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. So yeah, pretty good. Next one, as you've been seeing, has been just waiting patiently here. Let's see if I can actually read this name. It's a Angrius Armored Killer, 4 mana. It's actually Gemraiser. Gemraiser is like a sick card that definitely needs to be played in more decks. Unfortunately, it's a mythic. Is it actually supposed to be a mythic? Because I feel like it's a uncommon. I guess it's a mythic. I don't know. Maybe this version of it is a mythic. No, that doesn't make sense. Is it a mythic? Oh, I'm curious. Is the actual card a mythic? It is, apparently. Or I guess like what, a rare? Whatever the gold symbol is. I always forget if they're mythic or rares. How it works. Because I know like one is gold, one is orange. I believe actually the mythic is orange, so this might be a rare. Regardless, this is a great card. Definitely should be played in more budget decks. It has mutate for 3. You can see right there. So for 3 mana, 2 green, you have Reach and Trample. Already great stats. It's a 4/4, which is awesome. You know, 3 mana creature for 4/4, essentially. Not bad. And then whenever this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So even if you don't have a mutate deck, mutating once not only gets you a bigger body for 3 mana, but then you also get to destroy a enchantment or artifact. So it's like there's no downside. I don't see a downside with this card. It definitely should see more play. It just doesn't. I think it's because a lot of people just don't want to deal with mutate, which is fine by me. Just more cards for me, or less people know, which gives me a slight advantage. Anyways, our next one is going to be our ramp. The ramp package. I feel like the ramp is actually pretty good here, so I'm not upset by the ramp. I don't feel like I ever get, well, I do get mana screwed, but because I'm not drawing cards, so we'll see. So Arcane Signet, it's a 2-drop artifact, taps, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's identity color. So just generic color fixing, pretty good rock. What else can I say about this? Art's amazing, by the way. Look at that. This was, again, another secret layer. Amazing foiling. Awesome art. What is this? Danny? Is that the name of the artist? Danny? Let's see. Well, where are you, Danny? Yep, there you go. There's the artist. Great work. I almost didn't buy this secret layer when it came out because I was like a little more hesitant on it. I was like, we'll see, maybe. I'm very glad I did because in person, the cards look amazing. So our next one, Birds of Paradise. Another good old classic, just good stuff. Just good color fixing. It's 1 green, flying, tap, add 1 mana of any color. So more color fixing, way more efficient than our last guy over there, but it's in green, so you know, it would have been nice if that was like maybe like a red or like a blue card, but no, it's a green card. So yeah, green. It's an old card, so I'm gonna give it a pass. This is the Delightful Halfling, another 1 mana creature, and this one actually has tap, add one colorless, and then tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a legendary spell, and that spell can't be countered. So Cavern of Souls, I believe, is what this is essentially. Just 1 mana Cavern Souls. Good card. I'm shocked when it came out. People didn't like immediately buy it up. I was able to get this for like $10. I don't know what the price is right now, but whatever it is, it was worth the cost. Okay, here's another one, another game changer. This one I'm more on the fence about, mostly because he's a human, and as you know, if you don't know the rules, you can't mutate onto a human, so he will never be a mutate target. However, he's not really a mutate target. He's basically just a play stuff for free and then double your mana kind of creature for 2 for just Simic. I feel like this guy is definitely 1000% a game changer. This guy is a real bastard to go up against. But I feel like in the 99, he's okay. Chances are you won't see him every game. Oh yeah, you see right there. He's a what is it? Mythic, because it's orange, I believe. So I believe that's a mythic. So this card is whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. So for like Soul Ring, is it add 1? So for Soul Ring, it would just add just an extra generic mana. So instead of tapping for 2, it taps for 3. Arcane Signet, instead of tapping for 1, it taps for 2. All that kind of stuff. So it is a mana producer. It does double your mana production on certain things. And then for 7, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Then put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. That's good. It is. Look at the top 5. Pick the biggest thing you got and play it for free. Well, for free, which we got some big stuff in this deck. Not a lot of big stuff, but there is big stuff to be played. But it's nice that as a backup, it can just like double your mana production, double your mana rocks. So good card. I like it. I don't like the guy, but I like the card. If there was a decent replacement for it, I would maybe consider it, but probably not. This is Migratory Greathorn, I believe. Yeah, there you go. 4 mana creature. However, it's a 3 mana mutate, which is what we're doing. Whenever this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So, it is, what is it called? Kodama's Reach? No. Ramp? What is it? Rampant Regrowth? Just a good ramp card whenever you mutate. If you mutate early, it's a pretty good spell, but normally it doesn't get played over some of the other stuff that we have here. As you can tell, we have some slightly better stuff in here, but it has the showcase for Ikoria, and it actually doesn't look horrible. There was one there was one of these showcases. It was a Simic creature. It was some weird looking cow thing, and I kept looking at it, and I kept thinking to myself, I should put it in the deck. I kept looking at how ugly it was, and I'm like, you're not stepping foot in my deck, buddy. This guy was on that list too, but ultimately I was like, you know what, fine. He doesn't look that bad. I'll just put him in the deck. And that's where we ended up. Next one, Nature's Lore. Just an MVP ramps card. 2 mana, sorcery. And then if it'll ever actually look at the card, there we go. Search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So obviously you're searching out your, if you have dual lands, you can search out your dual lands, but it's mostly looking out for like shock lands, tangle lands, anything that has a named forest. Any land that has a forest typing, it can go search for and bring out to the field, whether tapped or untapped, depending on whatever its restrictions are. So good old fashioned ramp. Soul Ring, you knew this was going to make its way onto the field. There you go. This is the this is from the Sheldon secret layer, and I'm so glad I got it. You know, I wish it could have been the last secret layer I bought, but it wasn't. I would have been very happy if they would have ended secret layer with just this one. Oh man, Sheldon, what a Giga Chad. He's so cool. I mean, I will sing praises. He's the man that founded and then ran the EDH format as a whole, aka Commander. Without him, really, this probably would have never taken off and would have been managed the way it did until Wizards took over. But he did great. He did great work. He really brought like a lot of like good morale to the community. Really, you know, he was really like the spirit of Commander, of EDH. And yeah, it sucks that he's passed away. And thankfully, the fans of EDH were given like a memento. Well, given, they were allowed to purchase a memento of his secret lair, which this is all the stuff he orchestrated. And he picked out these cards, he picked out the art, and you know, all the stuff that's going to be in there. So it was a really great way to kind of tie a ribbon to the story of his life. And Soul Ring, 1-drop artifact, taps for 2, generic, and then it has a big, like just like a small thing of William Shakespeare there. If you want to read it, you can. I will not be reading it though. There you go. Very beautiful stuff though. Very smart man. Very insightful. But anyways, next card. Three's Visit is a 2-mana sorcery. Search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle through your library. Same thing as Nature's Lore, just good old generic ramp. Search for anything that has any land that has the type forest in it. So you can search for a basic, or you can search for some type of dual land that you have hanging around. Next one, probably the thing that got some of the biggest overhaul in the entire deck, because my god, most games I've bricked up like no one's business. I was more bricked up than a Saturday afternoon, and there was no way of fixing it other than just ham-fisting more draw spells into my deck. So we went from 10 to 15, and the 15 we added onto here are some cards that were in some previous categories but then got moved over here, and also the ones that, hold on, there we go. Also, we also put in some of the strongest draw spells that I could get my hands on. Obviously not the strongest ones, because I mean, let's face it, Ristic Study would 100% be in this deck if I had one, or if I wanted to buy one. I don't want to do either. I find it kind of annoying, so it's not in the deck. However, there are cards just as strong as Ristic Study in this deck that we'll look through. First off though, we'll start off with Ugin. Or not Ugin, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. This is a great card. This is a 6 showcase. This was like, well, actually this is a secret layer, but they eventually did a showcase like this, which you can see why, because holy moly, does this look awesome. These Titans look sick, large and in charge. Again, heavy shading, heavy shadowing, rough texturing. I love the look of these cards. This what would you call it, this Nordic art style, which I don't even think, because obviously the Nordic people did not draw like this. It's more like the framing is more Nordic than the actual art. The art is like more of like a Dark Horse comic style kind of art style done, which I would probably guarantee Richard over here probably did work for Dark Horse for a time being, because his art definitely reflects it. Anyways, Uro is a Elder Giant for 3 mana. When this enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. So escape is over here, it's a separate cost. Escape is 2 green, 2 blue, exile 5 other cards from your graveyard, and then you can cast this for its escape cost, which then you don't have to sacrifice it to itself. However, if you just pay it, it's basically just a sorcery spell, which is a good way to look at it at first. It's a sorcery spell that has a flashback cost of exiling 5 cards from your grave. So that's the best way to kind of explain how this card works. It looks amazing. The art is awesome. I'll read the card effect in a second. Just want to make sure you see that. So whenever Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. So, good card. Not just because it has an ETB, but it also has a when attacking trigger. You're always gaining life, you're gonna draw, and then you will occasionally be able to play a land. So that's why I moved from ramp over to draw spell, because it draws a card. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. something I want to mutate onto. Plus, it looks sick. And then, speaking of which, we have Toski, Bearer of Secrets. Another one done in this art style. Is this done by Richard? No, definitely not. Andy, you've done a great job with this one. Very cohesive. Even though they weren't done by the same people, you can definitely see there is a design language between the two cards. So I love that. So it's a 4-mana creature. It is a squirrel. This spell can't be countered. Good sign. Indestructible. Whenever this attacks, well, it attacks each combat if able. And then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So great card draw. It's a good card draw engine. Obviously, if we can, we're going to mutate either below it or on top of it. Ideally, we're going to mutate on top of it. And then attack, draw cards. Commander's indestructible. And then this can't be countered. So great target, safe target to mutate onto. The Great Henge. You can see how serious I got with the amount of draw spell I needed, how much draw I needed in this deck. Starting off with Great Henge. 7, 8, 9. You're never paying 9 mana for this bad boy. It's an artifact, legendary artifact. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So usually it's either going to be 3 mana or it's going to be 2 mana. Depends on where you are in the game. And then also it taps for 2 green, you gain 2 life. Nice bonus, but it has, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. So automatically buffs other creatures and then lets you draw cards. Taps to, double. It creates 2 green and then you gain 2 life. Great card. I mean, that's what was needed to fix this. Because I can't think, well, this is actually a pretty clever card draw. This is a new card as well in the deck. But I'm like ham-fisting card draw engines into this deck because, damn it, I am so sick and tired of just having bricks in my hand and not playing the game. So I'm going to play the game, damn it. I'm going to touch all 100 cards there. You mark my words, I will touch at least 50 cards in a game. Or I'm going to die trying. Anyways, this is a Storm Chaser Drake. The 2-mana creature has flying. Whenever this becomes the target of a spell you control, draw a card. So obviously, mutate, draw a card. And then counterspell, draw a card. Target removal, draw a card. Also, it just has flying. So 2-mana flying. That if it ever gets touched, it will just let you draw a card. So good card. I think it's a common. No, uncommon. So yeah. Also, the art is sick. This is another one that just has really sick art. There you go. You can kind of see what's going on there. Just like crazy looking skeleton dragon sucking up the power from the zombie energy conductor thing. Another draw engine, or another draw card. It's mostly a cantrip, but it's a Godzilla card, so it's in the deck. And it is our Space Godzilla, Death Corona. Void Beckoner is the official name. 6, 7, 8. 8-mana creature. However, we're never casting it for 8. Normally, we're going to cycle this thing and then try to reanimate it later because it has Death Touch. I can see there. And then has, whenever you cycle this, put a Death Touch counter on target creature you control. So we just give our Space Godzilla Death Touch. With this for 3 mana, Death Touch, draw a card. It's all good. Everything's kosher. And then maybe later on we can cast it from the grave using reanimate or something along those lines. Or if you're lucky, you actually get 8 mana and throw it out there. It doesn't happen very often, especially in my deck. It doesn't happen very often, but Sea Dasher Octopus. Seem to always draw him in my games. Never any of the good stuff. I always draw this idiot instead of like the Great Henge. So I'm a little tired of looking at this guy, but he does look cool. I will say that. How much? Yeah, you can see my face, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's a 3 mana. It has a mutate of 2, so that's fine. Has splash. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So, actually not bad. It's fine. Because if you're attacking with Space Godzilla, you can flash in this for the attack trigger, and then you get to draw a card. That's kind of the idea. Parcel Beast. This is another weird one where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make it to the deck, but it at least looks kind of cool, I guess. Parcel Beast, 4-mana creature. However, we're paying 2. Tap, or pay 1, tap it. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't, put that card let's see. If you don't put that card onto the battlefield, you put it into your hand. So, ramp, draw, kinda. You just, you look at the top card. If it's a land, play it. If it's not, you just draw it. So, actually not that bad. Mystic Remora, another Kellogg special right here. It's a 1-mana enchantment. It has cumulative upkeep of 1. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 4. Nobody ever pays the 4, so basically it just says whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you just draw a card. Great early start. Late game, you don't really want to be playing this late game. You can, because then you can keep it alive a little bit longer, but as it collects more mana cost, the upkeep gets exponentially bigger. So it goes from like 1, 2 to like 4, then to like 8, that kind of stuff. So it gets out of hand very quick. So usually you let this die pretty quick, but most people can't pay for the upkeep cost, so you let it be. Guardian Project, our next massive draw engine, 4-mana enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. So whenever a non-token creature enters, you draw a card, because we're not allowed to have doubles of anything unless you're playing what is it, Slime Against Humanity card, or you're playing the Apostles, Rats. But yeah, in a normal commander deck, this is basically just draw a card. Each creature you play, draw a card. For 4 mana, that's great way to start the game. So yeah, love it. Godzilla, Primal Champion. There you go. It is actually, what is the name? Titanoth Rex. Titanoth Rex is the actual name. 7, 8, 9, 9, 11, 11. Actually not bad. If you manage to get like 9 mana for some reason, you can play an 11/11 trampler. However, we're cycling it for 2 mana, so whenever you cycle this, you put a trample counter on a creature you control. Our commander does have trample, so this is usually going to one of our backup creatures, but it's also just a Godzilla card, so it gets a free pass. Dreamtail Heron. Heron, there he is. There you are, Karen. So that's the art. It's a 5-mana creature, but we're paying 4. Flying. Whenever this creature mutates, draw a card. We've seen this type of effect in the past. Just on a cool bird now. Oh boy. Here's one of the big boys. Let me get the translation out, because yeah, this is going to require some explaining. One of the new additions to the game changers. It is oh god, what I'm gonna try to say the name. I don't think I'm gonna say the name correctly. Oh god, I made everything too big. There you go. Consecrated Sphinx. That is what it says. 4, 5, 6 mana. It is a creature. It has flying. Oh, it actually says on the effect, whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So, oh mama, this is one card that I wish I could cast. Because look at the art. The art itself is amazing. This is a 10 out of 10 art, but the effect is even better, arguably better. I'm trying to get the art to like, my hand's not very steady, but as you can see, this looks amazing. This is honestly my favorite artwork from the Theros set. It's also a game changer now. It wasn't before, but now it is. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Big draw spell, big scary flying creature. I understand why it's here. Again, I need card draw. However, either I never draw it, or I never have the mana to cast it, or I cast it and then it doesn't do anything. And it's like a stupid card. Frustrated with it. That's why I added a bunch of other cards into the deck, so I can avoid these things. Our next one, Beast Within. Ta-da! Beast Within. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. We have a lot of creatures in this deck. Actually, I wonder if I can actually find out what our creature count is. If I look at this. Go by types. We have 43 creatures. So 43 is almost half the deck dedicated to creature types. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna have an issue casting anything. Put this back over here. There we go. But yeah, it's a 4-mana spell, 4-mana creature. Lets you draw whenever you cast a creature. Great card. Next one. Baleful Strix. It's a Dimir, 2-mana. Artifact creature bird. Flying Death Touch. Whenever this enters the battlefield, draw a card. Showcase. This is actually like probably the coolest showcase. Oh no. I keep saying that. This is my favorite show. This was my favorite art done in the I will remember the set in a minute. The one with the little mice. Bloom Barrow. There you go, Bloom Barrow. So this was a what was it? A special guest? Special guest in Bloom Barrow? Holy cow. This is their interpretation of him in the Bloom Barrow universe. And he looks amazing. He actually looks like some messed up taxidermy automaton, which I think perfectly represents his typing. So I really like that. And then of course we have Baby Godzilla. This is a bad card. don't look too close. Don't think too hard about this one. It's a was it Polywog Symbiote? It's a 2-mana creature, frog. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast. If it has mutate, it's somewhat relevant. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if it had mutate, draw a card, then discard a card. Ugh. Almost didn't want to put this in the deck, but it's Baby Godzilla. I don't like Baby Godzilla that much, but he's cool. Fine, he exists. He's in the deck. I didn't want to really break my rule that much, so he's here. I don't think I did break my rule though. I think I've done a decent job keeping the available Godzilla cards in this deck. I don't think they're all in here. All the ones in the colors are in here, but the ones that are relevant to the commander are here. Next one. Oh man, it's gonna be our big pile, isn't it? Yeah. This one I'm a little more nervous about because this is a big boy. And I think this, what is this? This is gonna be like what, 27 cards? I can take a quick look. 22. Okay, not as big as I thought. 22 cards in the next set. Blight Mamba. And then after this we have like what, like 37 lands to go through. So we'll try to burn through these a little bit quick, though I can't promise anything. We're already reaching an hour, so I gotta burn through this a little quicker. All right, so Blight Mamba, 2-mana creature. It has Infect, pay 2, regenerate this. So works great with your commander. Gives your commander Infect and the ability to regenerate. Boneyard Lurker is a 4-mana creature. However, if you pay the mutate costs, when this mutates, return target permanent card from your graveyard to the hand. Not bad if you want to play something again. Chittering Harvester, very scary looking card. It's a 6-mana creature. It has a mutate cost of 5. Whenever this creature mutates, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Target removal, this could very easily move into the target removal section if I need to make space for something. But who knows at this point. Actually, probably an MVP of the deck. Elusive Tormentor. It's a 4-mana creature. Pay 1, discard a card, transform this. The backside of this card is actually what we're looking for. And it is the Insidious Mist. Ooh! This is a hexproof, indestructible, can't be blocked, can't block and can't be blocked. Whenever this attacks and it's blocked, you may pay 3 mana. If you do, transform it. We're never paying that 3 mana. So it's just a hexproof, indestructible, unblockable creature. So obviously, #1 target here. And then of course, cool interaction is that you can actually, you can pay for the flipping cost while it's mutated, and it works. So good to know. Let me make sure I flip that back around so I don't forget, because it has to be on this side. This is again Cyberclaw Terror. There he is. 4, 5, 6 mana. Cool Kraken machine. Demon Kraken. Let's go. Companion. Actually, I don't want to read Companion because it doesn't matter. It doesn't account for this deck. Whenever this enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those creatures onto the battlefield under your control. Again, not super relevant to the deck. It can be. Maybe you mill something worth mutating onto. Maybe you get like the biggest creature that your opponent owns. However, it's a Godzilla card, so it made its way into the deck. Glissa Sunslayer is a 3 mana creature. First strike, death touch, and then whenever this deals combat damage to a player, choose 1, draw a card, and you lose 1 life. Destroy target enchantment, remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. Again, all 3 effects are somewhat relevant in the deck. Obviously, we can draw a card. We can destroy an enchantment, which is kind of annoying to get rid of for most decks. And then we can remove 3 counters from our Marriage Ledge. I don't remember what the name of the land is. It's the land that has like 20 ice counters on it. This helps you progress in that. Journey of Eternity. There you go. Is a 3 mana enchantment, aura, legendary. Enchant creature you control. Whenever enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control. Then return this to the battlefield transformed under your control. So first off, the front side is really good because it is protection for your commander. And if you do have a mutate stack, when this dies, everything returns separated. So even if it dies as a single unit, each card will individually enter the battlefield that was mutated onto it. So interesting little fact about mutate. Or at least to my understanding, that's the ruling, and I believe that's correct. The card it flips into, though, is, if we can ever actually look at it, hello. Aztol, Cave of Eternity, legendary land. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Pay 3, 4, 5, pay 5, tap this. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This has been a lightsaber. Holy moly. This essentially turns your graveyard into a second hand. And it's saved my butt a couple of times. Not really in this deck, but in another deck. This card has done major work. However, in this deck, it's just nice to be able to protect my commander a little bit longer. And then occasionally get to reanimate stuff from the graveyard to mutate onto. Mecha Godzilla Battle, what is it? Fortress? Oh boy. Another one of those cards that for the longest time I was hesitant to adding to the deck, but then I'm like, you know what, forget it. It's a Godzilla card. It's going in. So it's an XX. What's the name of the actual card? It is Hangerback Walker. Hangerback Walker, in case you didn't know. Artifact creature, construct. This enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. Whenever this dies, create 1/1 color, stop their artifact creature tokens with flying for each 1/1 counter on this walker. So tap, pay 1 tap, put a 1/1 counter on this. So this basically, you dump a bunch of mana into this, and then you let it explode, and then you get a whole bunch of little thopters out of it. So pretty cool. Actually not bad. It's a great way to repopulate your board in case anything happens to this little guy, or big guy. Second card that we need a translation for, not the last one for sure. Where are you hanging out? Not you. Where are you hanging out? Where's this little idiot? There it is. Mecha Godzilla, the weapon. The giant. 3 mana giant. Crystalline giant. Explains the typing. So there you go. In case you can read that, there you go. But I will read it for you. So, Mecha Godzilla is an artifact creature giant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a kind of counter on at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, and 1/1. Put a counter on that kind on Crystal Giant. So basically, you roll like a D12, and you pick a number. If you don't have the counter, then you put the counter on it. It gets a little bit hectic I really didn't like this card. I think this is the card I was thinking about, where I'm like, I really don't want to put this card in the deck. It's a bit of a headache. But this is actually one of those cards that just kind of synergizes a little too well with my commander. So I'm like, fine, I'll do it. So he made his way in there. I will guarantee forget what he does in a minute. So our next one is another Japanese alt. It's Mothra's Great Cocoon. It's a common, in case you wanted to use it. It's a 1-mana common. It's the actual name is Mysterious Egg, so I think it works. It's a creature egg. Whenever this creature mutates, put a 1/1 counter on it. So obviously, play this out. You mutate, then it gets it becomes a 7/7, and then you mutate again, becomes an 8/8. So it has its use. I don't use it mostly because I can't read it, but it does have a use in the game, so it's good to know. Next one is gonna be in a minute. I'll show you. Needle Spectre. Another great mutate target, 3-mana creature, flying, and has weather. This deals damage to a creature in the forms of -1/-1 counters. And then whenever this deals combat damage to a player, that player discards that many cards. So obviously, form of Death Touch, actually like better Death Touch. And then also, if they don't block it, then they have to discard like 6 cards from their hand. So pretty good. Also, it has flying, so it's like it's just a little bit of everything, right? Like this is just like generically good card. Really great. I'm glad I have it in the deck because that's come in handy in the past. However, it's a 1/1, so that's another issue. I don't know if it's made itself obvious. I have a lot of like dinky creatures that don't do much on their own. They really rely on the commander to be useful. Maybe I should put more 1/1, like more like buff spells, maybe is the way to move forward. But that's a thought for later. Because our next card is Phyrexian Crusader, 3-mana zombie knight, which has first strike, protection from red and from white. So, and it also has infect. So protection from the other 2 colors that are not in the color identity, which is fine. It's fine. And then it has infect. Infect basically, let me read it. This creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, so similar to Wither. However, whenever it does damage to a player in the forms of poison counters. Poison counters are an alternative way to deal damage, similar to commander damage, but however, it takes 12 poison counters to kill an opponent. And you know, when you have 6, it gets pretty quick. So you always want to be careful with this guy. Great card. He's one of the newer cards that was just added to the deck. It is a very difficult name. Quarcy Revenant. It's a 3-mana creature, vampire, flying, Death Touch, lifelink. It has Renew, which is like a buyback cost. It has pay 3. Exile this card from your graveyard. Oh no, it's not buyback. Okay. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a flying counter, a Death Touch counter, and a lifelink counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. So, obviously, if this ends up in the grave, we just automatically give our Godzilla all the relevant keywords that he already had. And then this is just a really good card. I'm shocked that they made this thing. It was far better than the there was a vampire with similar keywords, but this immediately overshadowed. So love power creep. So reanimate, classic. Reanimate 1 black sorcery, put target card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to that mana value, to its mana value. So this is when you can pull back like Godzilla. You can pull back like a Crater Hoof Behemoth from your opponent's field. You can pull back like some messed up creature your other opponent had for one black, and then of course whatever the mana cost was in life total. So this is Solana Ledgewalker, 2-mana creature, elf rogue, hexproof. This can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. So essentially it has flying. It's a funny way to work around the keyword flying. It has hexproof, which is pretty important because we don't want our commander to die easily. So is one of our backup ways to keep our commander alive. Another big bombastic spell, or creature in this case, it is Sire of the Seven Deaths. This is a new Eldrazi card, which you will see again in the future. A 7-mana Eldrazi, French vanilla Eldrazi. It has First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Reward, pay 7 life. It's also a 7/7 for 7. So holy moly, this is a cool card. I love this because you slap this on, all of a sudden you got all these tasty new keywords to play with. Your commander has Ward now, which is not a very big ward cost, but it is a cost. Also has like First Strike. It has a lot of keywords, a lot of cool keywords. You know, Menace alone is kind of worth its weight in gold. And Reach, great. Trample, awesome. Also, it's just an like messed up looking Eldrazi, so very cool. Another Secret Lair card that came out somewhat recently. However, this I did just buy the single of. I didn't buy the rest of it. I would have liked to get I forgot what her name is. The Demon Dragon Angel Lord commander. But I got Skitterix, the Blight Dragon for 5 mana. The art, 1000% the reason why I bought this. This illustration looks sick. As you can tell, I have a certain type of art I like in this set. Nope, it was done by a different person, but you can see some of the design language has made its way over. But this looks awesome though, like holy cow. Let's just appreciate the art for a little bit longer. Some of the other cards they picked for this set, I wasn't like a big fan of. But I do want to pick her up as a backup. But Skitterix was the one I was like, yes, this is a cool dragon. I want cool dragon. So also it just works really well with my Space Godzilla. So it is a legendary creature, Phyrexian Dragon Skeleton, flying infect, pay 1 black. This gains haste until the end of turn. Could be useful. However, it has pay 2 black, regenerate this. So again, this will bring everything back separated, I believe, is how that works whenever you regenerate a mutated creature. So, great card. And the art is amazing. We gotta follow up that amazing art with this dumb idiot. So this goober is Slippery Boggle, 1 mana creature. Beast, truly is. This can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Hexproof. So 1 mana hexproof, not bad. Will probably stay in the deck even though I don't like him. You know, little big old dummy. Next one is Vashta Narada, 3 mana, alien horror. It has Shadow, Indestructible, Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on this. Really cool card. And I got it in Search Foil, which I don't know how relevant that's going to be, but this is from the Doctor Who set. I know nothing about Doctor Who, so this was just a really cool creature with good keywords. And I was like, yes, please, give me more. Speaking of which, we have a, oh no, this is the Warhammer symbol. So I think that other card was not a Warhammer card. Took us an hour to figure it out, but we got there. Venom Throb, Thorpe, Venom Thorpe. It's a weird word. 3 mana creature, Tyrannid, flying Death Touch hexproof for 2/2. Just good keyword soup. Like it, works great in the deck. Our last one before we move to the lands, Will of the Wisp. The Will of the Wish for 1 black, flying, pay 1, regenerate this. It's a 0/1, so whoopee. Great blocker. Terrible blocker. Good good mutate target. There we go. I said the word. Let me make sure this is somewhat separated. Yeah, there we go. So here are some of the like color fixing lands. Here are just some of the generic, well, not generic, but more generic than the other stuff. Lands. Great way to start this off. Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls, enter the battlefield, choose a creature type. Beast. Add 1 mana of any color. Then tap, add 1 mana of any color in your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells of the chosen type. That spell can't be countered. So this is like the Hobbit that we just looked at. What's his name? I'm not going to be able to find it in time wherein it's relevant, so we'll skip past that. But yeah, Cavalier of Souls, great card, love it. Always have your playset. Next one is Command Tower, in that cool secret layer that we saw earlier on. Love this one. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So Rainbow Land, that looks amazing. Zaggoth Triome, this was from the Ikoria set. So alt art Triome, looks sick. Love the art. It is a land, forest, swamp. Taps for any one of those 3 colors. It enters the battlefield tapped, but you can cycle it for 3 mana. Always has a use at some point in the game. Thespian Sage. This is only here because of Dark Depths, that's the name. So Thespian Sage is a colorless land that you pay to tap it. This becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. So obviously, you combo this with Dark Depths. You play Dark Depths, you put the 20 counters on it. Then you play this either same turn, next turn, depends on when you can play a land. And then this becomes a copy of this, if you have the mana and you tap this. But this enters the battlefield without the counters because this is separate from this. I believe that's how it works. Something along those lines. And then we'll read this card in a minute, but basically this is only here because of this. And that's why you have that. Dark Depths. Legendary Snowland. That definitely does not tap for any snow. This is more of like a creature than anything. Enters the battlefield with 10 counters on it. Remove an ice counter from this for 3 mana. When this has no ice counters on it, it sacrifices it. On it, sacrifice it. If you do, create a Marate Log, a legendary 2020 Black Avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Amazing mutate target. I've done it once. Awesome. I felt really cool doing it, but ultimately, that was it. Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb is a land that taps for 2 colorless, deals 2 damage to you. Just massive mana ramp. This is Watery Lodge Grove. Pay 1 life, add either green or blue. Pay 1, tap it, sacrifice it, draw a card. Good utility. Breeding Pool. There we go. One of our named forest. As it enters the battlefield, you can pay 2. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Great color fixing. Here is another one of those lands. Lanyard Waste. Actually, no, this is a different land. Tap for generic, or you can tap it, add 1 of the colors, and then it deals 1 damage to you. Actually, not that bad. I'm okay with it. I'd like to get the type version, the one that has the swamp and forest typing. I think if I don't have it, I would like to get it. Watery Grave, Island Swamp. Taps for 1 of those 2 colors, and then you pay 2 life, and then it enters the battlefield untapped. Otherwise, it enters untapped. Command Beacon, good protection for our commander. Tap, add colorless, sacrifice this, put your commander into your hand from the command zone. So obviously, if you accrue too much command tax, you can sacrifice this and then cast it from your hand. So, oh my gosh, this one is going to be a tough one to read. Heneth Anun, Reflecting Pool. It has add 1 mana. Come on. Add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. So color fixing, nice rainbow land. This is Dreamroot Cascade. This land enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Tap for green or blue. I think it's a Tangle land, I think they call that. Not 100% sure. Next one. Hang on. How's this doing? Wake up. Wake up, dummy. There we go. We're back. I just had to refresh for a second. Our next one is Nurturing Peatland. Pay 1 life, add a black or green. Then pay 1, tap it, sacrifice it, draw a land or draw a card. Very useful. Here's one of the newer cards where it's like holy cow, they came back to this art style. I'm like, okay, cool. Always happy to see like the Ikoria art style come back in life, especially because I believe this is the plains. This is actually like the plane, the universe where Ikoria takes place. Granite ruins. So this is obviously after the story of Ikoria. This is what happened to the kingdom, I assume. So it taps for 1, or 1 generic. Pay 2, tap this, put 2 1/1 counters on target non-human creature that entered the battlefield this turn. Pretty bad land. I don't like this land that much, but it does fit the theme of like doing the Ikoria showcase in the deck. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll put it in the deck. I'll just have it. Oh, I do have this. Okay, perfect. So Overgrown Tomb, Swamp Forest. You can tap it, add 1 of the colors. And then if you want, you can pay 2 life. If you do, it gets to enter in tapped. If you don't, it enters in untapped. Or reverse that. So our more interesting lands, I would say. I have the neon, or yeah, I have the cycle. You can see I have the legendary land cycle from Neon Dynasty. Or yeah, shit. What's the name of the set? I know it's called Neon Dynasty. What's the name of the planes? I forgot the name of the plane. But I do have these lands. Bajuka Bog, or Oseju, who endures legendary land, taps for green. You can cycle it or channel it. Let me read the channel ability to you. So channeling it, it will, if we'll ever actually get to see it. Hold on, come on. Discard this. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search the library for a land card with a basic land type, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So for just like baseline 2 mana to get rid of something, pretty good. So honestly, the art itself looks amazing as well. This Boseiju, my goodness, great art. Great removal spell. Also can't be interacted with because it's being channeled from your hand. So it's I don't think there's anything that can like counter that spell or that activation cost. Takanuma, Abandoned Mire. Tap for 1 black, or you can channel it for 3 and a black. Discard this. Mill 3 cards, then return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to the hand. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Another amazing one. I believe out of the 3, this is the cheaper one. Because this one, Otawara, Soaring City, amazing art as well. Very futuristic. I mean, it makes sense for the planes. It is a tap for 1 blue. You can channel it for 4. Discard this. Return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Good removal spell. Arguably could be better than Boseiju, but obviously having both is the best. Next ones are going to be our flip lands, MDFC lands. I actually have a lot, and I think this is where a lot of my issues come in with my land base / drawing, because I also have, I don't have that big of an issue with color fixing, but there was an issue of color fixing, and as you saw, I had to pump a lot of time into making a decent land base so I can accommodate for all these really strong MDFCs. However, I feel like I'm probably going to end up cutting like 1 or 2 of these, just because I can't have this much just dead, this much dead draw, this much dead hand in the deck. So first one, turn Timber, Serpent Wood, enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life, and then if you pay 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, you can flip it, and it becomes turn Timber Symbiote. It's a sorcery. Look at the top 7. Okay, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that creature card has converted mana cost of 3 or less, it enters with 3 additional 1/1 counters on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So very similar. Hold on, I think our music stopped playing. Yes, it did. I will play this instead. So, yep. Okay, there we go. next card. Sorry. But yeah, really great MDFC. As you can tell, this was, I believe, the mythic. Yep. So these were demanded a pretty high price for the longest time because they were the only ones that you can pay to have untapped. But potentially could get cut. We'll see. This one I don't think I'm gonna cut though. This one I think is gonna stay. Balaglade Sanctuary always enters in tapped, but it can tap for a green. And then if you tip it, Balaglade Recovery is a 3-mana sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Always useful whenever you need something from your graveyard and you don't have like a reanimate. Play that, put it back in your hand, try again. Let's see, Hydroelectric Laboratory. This enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life, taps for a blue. Then you can flip it for 3 mana, or you can cast it for its alternate cost, which is Hydroelectric Specimen. It's a wizard with flash. Whenever this enters the battlefield, you may change the target instant or sorcery spell with a single target to this. So basically, it redirects a spell back to itself. So let's say your opponent's trying to get rid of this or counterspell this. They have to counterspell this, or like do like a fatal or tragic slip to this instead of your commander. So that's the idea of this. Definitely one of the weaker ones. This could also get cut. I'll think about it. One of the spells I could potentially cut. Our next one is Sulfurific Springs. It enters the battlefield tap unless you pay 3 life, taps for a blue. However, turns into something far better with 3 mana. So sink into Stupor, I believe. Stupor, yep. Instant, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So counterspell, 3 mana counterspell. Never know when you can use it. Always useful. So this is definitely staying into the deck regardless. Another card I might potentially cut for a better land in the future is I like this card a lot, but it could definitely get cut. Jawari Ruins enters in tapped. Always taps for a blue. Flip it. Jawari Disruption is a 2 mana instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 life or 1 mana. If you time this correctly, your opponent will be definitely tapped out, trying to cast something, and then you will be able to counterspell it unless they have somehow miraculously kept the 1 mana open, which hopefully they won't catch you off guard with that. Another pretty good card, I think this one's definitely going to stay, is Seagate Reborn. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. Taps for a blue. However, it flips into Seagate Restoration for 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. There you go. There's a card. Sorcery. Draw a card equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Awesome. Love this card. Great card. It's nice to have like an unlimited hand size and like basically recycle your hand if you have dead draws. This was not supposed to flip it so quickly. Is it Agatha's? Agadine, the Undercrypt. The land enters in tapped unless you pay 3 life, taps for a black. However, if you flip it, pay for its other cost, which is 3 black, and X. It's a sorcery. Agadine's Awakening. It is returned from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that have had a different converted mana cost X or less. So basically, massive reanimate spell. Of course, it has to all be different mana cost. So going from 1 all the way up to whatever the max mana you have in your grave. Obviously, well, X, whatever you pay into X. So whatever X is, you can go up to X. And then here is Malakari Mire. Enters the battlefield tapped. Pay 1 black. However, this is definitely staying in the deck because it is a great reanimation, well, great protection spell. Malakari Rebirth for 1 black. Instant. Choose target creature, you lose 2 life. Until the end of turn, that creature gains. Whenever this creature dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, again, similar thing with the stack, where you can, if this is going to get removed, You can pay the 1, pay 2 life, and then reanimate, I think, everything from the stack separately as individual creatures. So if you have like three mutate things underneath your Godzilla, those 3 things plus Godzilla come back. And that's cool. I like that. So that's definitely going to stay in the deck. Next one, Fellmire. Fellmire is a land that enters in tap unless you pay 3 life. Taps for lack. However, if you pay 4, you can flip it, pay 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 black. Instance, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Good removal. Not going anywhere. And that basically covers all the NDFCs. I am fully aware I have way too many in the deck. However, I have a lot of good ones that could potentially get cut. And then the last ones are just our basics. 4 forest, 3 islands, and then 3 swamps. I can show you what that looks like because it is 1000% blurry. These are from the unset, I believe. These were the full arts from the unset. Or what is it called? Infinity was the name of the set these came from. These are honestly some of the best basics we've seen in a very long time. These were 1000% worth picking up. Super cool. Swamp is definitely, I think, one of my favorites. I also love the fetch lands that they did in this art style. I would love to pick up the fetch lands in this style. Just not right now. But in the future, I might replace some of the MDFCs with some fetch lands if I don't have all of them. Sometimes I forget which way these lands face. So yeah, that's the whole deck. That is everything. My goodness. 1 hour and 30 minutes. I was not expecting that. I was hoping to do some extra things on the stream. We might not, but well, we'll see. Anyways, that's the deck. That is all I have to show for you. What do I think about this deck? I love this deck. This is one of the coolest decks I have. Not my oldest deck. I think my second oldest deck this is. Yeah, this is my second oldest deck. I got really into Magic with Ikoria. Like, that's when I started to actually pay attention to Magic. And that's definitely when I fell in love with the game. I know some people don't like the Beyond Universe stuff. And there are times when I don't like it as well. Like, nobody's perfect. And the Beyond Universe stuff is definitely taking over Magic in a way that I don't like to see. But without, Beyond Universe stuff, I wouldn't have a deck like this. Or I wouldn't have a deck that is this cool. It's essentially. And I wish that if they were going to do Beyond Universe stuff, they would have done it like this, where it's basically a skin. And it doesn't, like, interrupt the universe of Magic the Gathering. By, inserting characters like SpongeBob and other things like that. I'm just mostly like upset with like SpongeBob. I was so mad because like the SpongeBob Secret Lair was actually good. Like, they did a lot of good theming. It wasn't just like a half-baked Secret Lair. They actually did a good job with it. But it feels like, it's just like it's a lot of IPs entering the game, and it sucks. I wish there weren't so many IPs, dipping their fingers into, a card game I love. But I'm glad at least Godzilla did, At the end of the day, I can at least be happy that this one dipped its fingers in. Very happy to caress the fingers of Space Godzilla, despite it sounding weird. But yeah, that's the deck. That's everything I got to show for you. Let me know in the comments if any of this stuff was interesting. If you liked the deck, let me know what you liked about it. Definitely, it's a power level 4, but it has such a hard time popping off. It takes forever for this deck to pop off, and I've tried everything in my power to like help it so it doesn't suck. But man, I have a lot of bad days with this deck. Mostly bad days, not very many good days. The good days I have are amazing. Like, I have some amazing games when I'm popping off, but a lot of times I'm just sitting there with like a bunch of 1/1s and a bunch of 2/2s, just looking at my opponent, praying that they don't swing so I can mutate. And usually they swing for game, and I'm like, save me, please. I'm just a little guy. That's kind of what this deck feels like. He's kind of like, oh, I'm just a little guy. I got like a goofy deck. Don't hit me. And then 5 turns later, whoopa, killed you. But yeah, that's the deck. Definitely a deck that will probably, the deck I will definitely not pull apart for a while. If these decks start to fall apart, it's a sad day for Chris. It's definitely a sad day. Man, I've been spitting and slurring and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, if these decks fall apart, or if these decks ever get torn apart for money, if I ever have to sell these decks, I'm going to be very sad. And ideally, hopefully they never do, but you know, yeah, this is one of the ones that's definitely going to stay the longest. I've invested a lot of time and money, obviously, into this deck, and I'm really happy for it. I'm really happy about it. I think I've done a great job putting this bad boy together, even though it doesn't perform as well as I wanted to. I still love Space Godzilla and all the little cards in this deck. Love looking through them, which is why I have some really strong drawing spells or draw engines. But yeah, that's everything. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you have a lovely day. I'm gonna go ahead and love you and leave you here. And yeah, until next time. Goodbye. Goodbye. Adios. Sayonara. Bye. 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 Bye.